A very good morning to you this very lovely day. Glad you could join us. Welcome to the show. This is The Brief with Femi D Live. I am Femi G. Emily. Well, on The Brief, if you're joining us for the first time, what we do is take a good look, I say, at verified stories, stories we can verify, news stories that did rain throughout the week in Nigeria. Yes, whether it's in Lagos, Abuja, or just somewhere in here that was really worthy of conversation and, well, possibly will even create conversation for the new week. And that's what this is all about. We're going to be doing this over the period of, let's say, 60 minutes. We'll go through the stories. I'll play some of the characters for you, what they said, how they said it, when they said it. So you can get closer and see, in all sincerity, what the stories are all about. And I can tell you, the stories are verified. They come in verified from the news department of Nigeria Info at this time. So I'm glad you could connect with us this morning. Some of the stories I have my eyes on. Earlier this week, the NLC talked about going on strike. The NLC 2UC, Thursday, which was yesterday, oh, no, 2 days ago, was the due date for the strike. But somehow industrial court injunction, whether that will stand or not stand, becomes a factor. Also, federal, media houses that are under the federal purview appear that they're ready to go on strike from midnight of Sunday. That comes into the news as well. Obaseki continues his victory lap after winning the Edo State governorship election. Well, he's on carrying on with this victory lap. And one crucial question was asked about some of the people that supported him throughout the week, including Governor Wike, whether just maybe, Obaseki could consider changing back from PDP to APC, seeing the fact that a strongest opposition in the All Progressive Congress may just have been done away with. But however, Governor Obaseki is calling some of his own opposition in his former party to repentance. Isayama makes an appearance also this week. He was there to see the president earlier this week, from what I understand. These are just some of the stories that are going on, and yes, pretty much making the trend, keeping it alive in its own way and in essentially way you cannot forget. So, with that said, let's start off the show. Let's bring you those stories one after the other as we go through this all for you right now. Welcome to the show. This is The Brief with Family Live. Nothing breaks the news like it is. Trust me, I can prove it. Let's take on the biggest debates of radio, provide insights, experience, and build an unforgettable discussion. Let's start off the show now. Now, one of the major things that happened this week, there was talk about how President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday night, that's just this past Sunday, met behind closed doors with President Nana Akufo, of Ghana, the presidential villa Abuja. The president's personal assistant, Numida Bashir Ahmed, confirmed that on his Twitter handle that that's part of the things that started off the Sunday. Remember, there's been an ongoing gist about the relationship between Ghana and Nigeria. They've been trying to find a balance, maybe even find what exactly would work out for the two. Well, a lot of Nigerians working in Ghana say they're not having a good time with fees, levies, taxes, all kinds of things being meted at them, especially for shop owners in Ghana. Well, the tensions did heighten between the two countries, but diplomatic teams have engaged with each other, led by the Minister of Foreign Affairs now, Geoffrey Oyema, to summon Ghana's charge their affairs to Nigeria, Miss Eva Denor, for discussion. So that did take place. So let's just hope things will break out in a new sequence. Now, coming a little bit more to Monday morning again, well, the Joint Health Sector Union, they've been trying to go on strike for some time now. I remember during the week, we interviewed the JOESU leader there. Is named the national president now, Biblo Bekentoye Josiah. He was on the show, and he told us his motive for the reason why they're going on strike. They say they're not going to strike in at least 2 years. That's since 2018 till date. They haven't gone on strike, but here they are. They are now pushing up for demands for insurances for every of the health workers. Now, by the way, just to mention this, the only association not directly registered with the Joint Health, what we call them now, Joint Health Sector Union and Nigerian Doctors, the NAD, that's the National Association of Resident Doctors. But part of the demands of JOSU was that they expected to resume work back on September 21, seeing the fact that they're not going on strike. They had accused the federal government to resort into intimidation, blackmail, and using all fronts of faceless methodologies to push on that they do not go on strike. Well, they're asking for an upward review of their COVID-19 special inducement and hazard allowance, the payment of withheld salaries, the adjustment of consolidated medical salary structure since 2014. Well, that makes a part of the demand, but now they're not going to strike anymore. They say they've worked, I think, about 14 points, but they worked it down to 5, according to the interview we had with JOSU president during the week. So it is of interest to say this, that JOSU is not going on strike, but it's also to also state clearly that not all cannot be said to be well with some of the important things they say they wanted to get done as at that time. So let me just check up. They put up an update on that. Some of the things they wanted earlier, JOSU wanted to get an upward review of the hazard allowance for all health workers. They wanted special risk allowance to be paid to all health workers now. An upward review of retirement age to be implemented post COVID-19. Okay, I'm a little bit confused about that. An upward review of the retirement age. Okay, going on. Compulsory group life insurance. They wanted tax relief for all COVID-19 allowance as well. So no charging of tax against anything you put forward with regards to that. So that's what Comrade Josiah pretty much was pressing home as part of their demands that they had held on to for a while. All right, let's move away from that terrain now and talk about something else. Now, in the political world, Godwin Obaseki of the People's Democratic Party and the incumbent governor of Edo State defeated Osage Ize Eyamu during the course of the week. Yeah, pretty much last week, Saturday, just about this time. Remember, I did take quite a number of interviews, asking people, and well, some of the observers on ground, exactly what was going on and what they strongly felt would happen. But hey, what do we know? Governor Obaseki did win. Was given his return certificate by INEC. Of course, that election was overseen by the INEC returning officer, Professor Akpofure Rem Uke. He declared the governor as the winner in the state at the time. But if you have missed out on how the sound of victory, or should I say, sound of declaration, was like at that time, let me take you back just quickly now to that very experience. Take a listen for yourself.
Of APC have 223,619 votes. Godwin N. Obaseki of the PDP had 307,955. That Godwin N. Obaseki of PDP, having satisfied the requirement of the law, he immediately 25% into God of the local government area in the state, and having a margin of lead higher than the council votes, thereby declared the winner and returned elected.
And that was the INEC boss there in Edo State who did take charge of that election, declaring that. Now, shortly after this declaration, President Muhammadu Buhari did take out time to congratulate Godwin Obaseki on his re-election to Edo State, and it said about he is inclined to give good reason and just to support democracy in that very state that had been troubled by some heavyweight political guys, if I may say, all kinds of characters they play out in that. Now, having been told that President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated him, Godwin Obaseki did take out time to react immediately. This was just before he stepped in to go see the president. That was just about yesterday. But take a listen to what he said at that time.
Thank God Almighty. Thank you, President Muhammadu Buhari, for defending our democracy and allowing the Independent Electoral Commission (INEC) and the security services to perform their constitutional functions without interference. INEC and the security services have shown Nigerians and the world indeed that they are capable of conducting
Well, one of the people who was on his side when he did run for this election, yes, Wike, who is the governor of Rivers State, also did take out time to explain how godfatherism should be viewed now. Oh yeah, now that's interesting. I will tell you. Now, in another state nearby, Imo State now, well, the Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2020 was recently gazetted, and yes, the governor there is saying, "Wait, let's get this right. This was not initiated by my administration." That's talking about Hope Uzodinma, the governor there in the state, saying it did predate his administration, and if there's any controversy trailing this administration of criminal justice law, as some call it AJA, as we easily go by, says the sections that cover section 484 and 485 was sponsored by a private bill, was by a private member who predates his administration. So he really doesn't know much about how everybody's making rounds of noise about if he can criminalize or get people arrested. By the way, he did also grant an interview just about yesterday. The interview did go on air yesterday. And one of the things he said as a governor, he feels he has the right and he can detain a citizen. That is another source of controversy in its right. Take a listen to what he said.
The law is comprehensive review of the obsolete updated criminal justice law in Nigeria. It was first passed by the National Assembly in 2015. It's a very, very serious law. It required a lot of experts to do it, and so it took a long process. It's about a month after the thing passed, and the governor assented to the law. I'm surprised that people are raising dust. It is a law that domesticates the federal law, which is almost what the 96 states have done. It was the House that originated it. So if there is need for it, it is the House that will initiate it. Then response that aspect.
But let me also quickly add that was the voice of the Imo State Commissioner of Information and Strategy, Declan Emelumba, who was speaking, reiterating the position of the governor on the subject. Okay, so let's move on now. Another story of interest is President Muhammadu Buhari has hailed the United Nations for remaining true to the aspirations of its founders, saying the international organizations has continued to play the crucial role of fostering global peace and security. Well, President Buhari stated this when he joined the World Leaders at the virtual event to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the United Nations on Monday, just this Monday, UN at 75. Let's take a listen to what Nigerian president did share with the world on behalf of Nigeria with regards to this. Take a listen.
On behalf of the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I wish to express sincere felicitation to member states for the giant strides taken towards achieving the objective of the organization thus far. Today's celebration is a remarkable milestone in the history of the United Nations. It affords us the opportunity to review our progress and challenges, as well as chart the course for our future. Your Excellency, for over 7 decades, the United Nations has remained true to the aspirations of its founders.
All right, that was President Muhammadu Buhari addressing the UN Trade Virtual Conference on the occasion of their clock is 75. Now, another interesting story that did get in the way. Oh, by the way, let me not miss out on this. Eze Ayamu of Edo State, the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, earlier also this week did congratulate Godwin Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, on winning his re-election into office. He, of course, also did commend the tenacity and unwavering support of the past national chairman of his own party, All Progressive Congress, that's Adams Oshiomhole, for demonstrating unwavering support for his party and his candidature throughout the period of the election. So it looks like Edo is set. We shouldn't be having ideas of going to court. I believe that is certain. Now, once that story did get to me this week, this one, it was about Colonel D.C. Bako of the Nigerian Army. He was killed in a Boko Haram ambush during the week. Now, the news of Colonel Bako's demise was disclosed by the force in a communique issued on Monday night. According to the newsletter signed by the Army spokesman, Colonel Ado Issa, he said the fallen soldier was gallant and was one of the finest war heroes Nigeria had produced in recent times. He revealed that Colonel DC Bako also led from the front and was a patriotic Nigerian who led the patrol to clear Boko Haram terrorists from Sabongeri, Wajiroko, axis near Damboa. He said he was carrying out his duty that the Colonel patrol team entered an ambush at about 10 a.m. On Sunday that eventually led to his death. But also the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Brutai, expressed heartfelt condolence to his esteemed family on behalf of himself and gallant troops of Operation Lafia Dole and all well-meaning Nigerians. Talking about Borno State, did you hear about the attack on the government official this week in Borno State? Oh yeah, it was sad. There were lives that were lost. Let's see if we can dig around and get into that story at some point in time as well. Also this week, it was of interest to know that the Accident Investigation Bureau says the Bell 206 B3 helicopter with registration number 5NBW, which crashed in the Kenta area of Lagos State on August 28th, may have come down owing to inadequate fuel in the tank. Oh yeah, they released a 15-page report to substantiate how this helicopter did come down. The flight minute test was conducted for about 20 minutes. No fuel jettisoned the capacity of the aircraft to stay afloat. So they say that was the main reason around that as well. Well, let me for a moment venture into stock market. On Monday, by the way, for the start of the week, the marginal growth was 0.01%. Market capitalization opened for the week at 13.364 trillion naira and did rise to 1 billion naira eventually. It did rise by 1 billion naira. That's about 0.01% to close as 13.365 trillion naira. So you can see the margin from 13.364 to 13.365, a billion naira difference in terms of that. So a little bit about the market this start of this very week as well. All right, let's see. Okay, another set of stories now that may interest you that did go on as part of this week. The National Food Security Council. Yes, they did get into the news. They are also worried about the hike in the price of food across the country, the bulk purchase of food commodities to distribute as a palliative across the country. This morning I was reading that the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is saying that anybody who is some sort of way utilizing humanitarian funds and giving out stuff must show proof that is being done in the interest of the people. So I'm well waiting to see how that will be substantiated. But the Northwest Council representative of Jigawa, Governor of Jigawa State, Abubakar Badiru, who is the governor there, while private journalists at a meeting in Abuja expressed confidence that the situation of harvest season will change very soon. Okay, of course, Governor Badiru of Jigawa State noted that the President Muhammadu Buhari approved that the cost of fertilizers moved from 5,500 naira to 5,000 naira per bag. Well, same thing. Kebbi Governor Atiku Bagudu did affirm that this submission as regards food security in the country and the problem this started from this flood disaster that is going on. Of course, what was in Nimet now? Yes, Nimet said we're going to have heavy rainfall throughout because of the year. So I guess that is how that is playing out. At this time as well. Okay, so that makes part of the stories that really did trend in the news as well. Okay, so let's see. Now, President of the Court of Appeal, Monica Dogban Nesem, has constituted a panel to preside over petitions arising from just concluded Edo State governorship election. If anybody is going to court, well, she has somebody waiting in the corner. The tribunal secretary will be Sunday Martins, who will conduct sittings at the higher complex in Sapele Road, Benin, and all that will be done if they choose to go to court. Remember, it's not just two parties we have that did run in Edo State. So there may be other people who feel cheated and, just start to wag their tongues and see if they can get any response. But from the word of the NLC, they had a strike action planned. And when we were planning that strike, this was what it sounded like. Let me share this with you very quickly.
To try to reverse those opposition positions and also pronounce that the action proposed by the Central Working Committee is hereby endorsed by the next that 28th of September will be the date and those actions will be challenged by Nigerian workers, our civil society allies, and also other labor sectors. So in summary, this is the decision of the National Executive Council meeting.
Well, stay with me right here. After the break, I will take in more stories for you. I'll squeeze in as many as I can and as fast as I can so I can get you into the conversation. This is The Brief with Fundy Live.
Can prove it. I'm ready. Let's take on the biggest debates on radio, provide insights, experience, and build an unforgettable discussion together. I'm Femi T. I'm in.
Real info, authentic info, Nigeria info.
All right, stay there. Thank you for watching. I'm giving you a brief of everything that has happened in the world of news this week in Nigeria. So feel free to ask your questions on any of those platforms. I'm live, by the way, so you're not watching a recorded piece. This will help you to understand what is going on in the country. There's more stories coming up, so stay close. Okay. Let's see.
Peak. Reach for your peak. A place where you can win without limits. A place where you get virtual is brought to reality. Even more. A place where you can bet online anytime, even while you're out of data. Register on ActionBet.ng. ActionBet. Think bold, take action, win big.
Mention the first 20 chemical elements according me. Hydrogen, helium, see your head. You're wrong. You know you made your really brown. I'm sure about this skills. Really well in school. How should be attending daily lessons on Wazobia Max TV? Daily lessons on Wazobia Max?
Yeah, that's right. Daily lessons showing Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on Wazobia Max TV, DSTV channel 259, UHF 57 on Wazobia TV, GoTV channel 98, MyTV channel 17, Free TV channel 744, and StarTimes channel 195. Also on Wazobia FM 95.1 from Mondays to Fridays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. So, what then are you waiting for? Get your children and rods tuned in and give them that edge over their peers. At Wazobia Mass Media, inclusive learning is our major concern.
We talk. What I say was watching you and people of the support this government.
So we're back. Welcome back to the show this very morning. Yes, you're listening to me live if you are on Nigeria Info. For those of you who would like to check it via the app, please do so. Download the app. I do hear there's some big opportunity brewing up against Independence Day on the Nigerian Info app. Should I let the cat out of the bag? No, just download the app and find out how some way for operating that very app, you could win some good cash. Yes, you could win some good cash. Okay, so we're checking into that plan at some point in time soon enough. Okay, so that's that and that. Let's move around now and cover some more news stories for you. The federal government has taken a swipe now at critics of the proposed National Water Resources Bill 2020, stressing that they are highly ill-informed. Let me get that right in. Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who is the Minister of Information, Minister of Information and Culture, did explain in a press conference alongside with the Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Sulaiman Azan, what he called how some divisive people were trying to take away the modern dynamics of what essentially the government is trying to get done. Take a listen to him.
Also, we cannot rule out deliberate chief by some of those who have been portraying the bill as a new source of conflict. We are therefore using this opportunity to appeal to Nigerians to avail themselves of the provisions of the bill to avoid being misled by those who have chosen to politicize the bill.
All right, well, that was that and that. Now, Engineer Sulaiman, who is the Minister of Water Resources, although did try to consolidate now the point of the Minister of Information.
There's no way the bill insists that the federal government is taking any portion of that on the backs of the bill. This bill is not inconsistent in any way with that right. Again, like we talk about inland waterways, this bill has nothing to do with inland waterways. It has something to do with inland waterways as far as it affects the quality of water. Issue of inland waterways Act is purely about definition of inland waterways.
All right, well, that covers that. Minister of Water Resources also explaining why we should accept the bill with no sense of reservation about that at all. Okay, let me dig into other stories. By the way, in Nasarawa State, the governor there has confirmed that road safety officials, the Federal Road Safety Corps officials that were kidnapped, regained their freedom in Lafia, Nasarawa State. He did confirm this on Tuesday, by the way. 26 of them were on their way for a training program at the FRSC Academy in Udi, Enugu State, when they were abducted. And yes, I understand some people lost their lives, but 3 officials were rescued. In fact, quite a number of them were rescued as well in that sequence. Okay, still going forward now. The FCD administration here in Abuja, as well persons whose structures were affected in the ongoing demolition exercise, not to make the mistake of going back to such lands, as they set up a committee that will monitor all demolished shanties now. But Mukhtar Galadima, who is the Director of Development Control of the administration, gave the warning on Tuesday. He made it clear what to expect and what not to do in this sequence. There's so much that can be said. Okay, so some of the areas affected, by the way, were Wuye, Kukwaba districts as well. And he also said, some people have been taking words in to say they are trying to clear up those areas because of Ruga settlement. He says, no, that's not true. Nothing of such nature. Let me share with you what he said in detail now. Just get to get a little insight into his own version of this. I hope this is there. No, it's not coming up. All right, so I'll have to share that with you at another time. CBN, by the way, says the monetary policy rate, 12.5%, will now move. It has been 12.5% for like how long? It will now be at 11.5%. Well, Governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele, announced this on Tuesday after a 2-day monetary policy committee meeting in Abuja. Okay, so let's dig around and see what they said about that. The MPC is quite important when it comes to determining the monetary aspect. No, not just fiscal policy now, but there's monetary policy that affects things as well. He also said the cash reserve ratio will remain at 27.5%, liquidity ratio at 30%. I don't know how to explain this financial English, but it just means, well, they're responsive. I think that's what it comes down to. Financial English can be complicated sometimes on air.
MPC voted to 1. Reduce MPR by 100 basis points from 12.5% to 11.5%. 2. Adjust the asymmetric corridor from plus 200 and minus 500 basis points to plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR. 3. Retain the CRR at 27.5% and 4. Retain liquidity ratio at 30%.
All right, well, that was that. CBN Governor Beck explaining the monetary policy response. Usually, this comes up every quarter, like the first Monday on Tuesday, other Monday Tuesday meeting, and that's some top bankers helping to decide and navigate through the microeconomics of the country. But that's the first time they'll cut the MPC in a while now. For a while, they've left it at 2.5, of course, because of talks of recession and the global pandemic, their pandemic going on, not global pandemic now, pandemic going on. There's been lots of moves around that. Now, former Emir of Kano now, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, well, has been speaking about the need for the country to diversify its earnings, its income from crude oil, and then move on to the likes of rubber, cocoa, hinds, groundnuts, and the likes of that, and the likes of that. Okay, so take a listen to him.
If you want to understand where we should be going, I need we need to cut the past and say, what did we lose in the post-independence period? Why was Nigeria successful in the pre-oil period? It was diversification, dynamism in trading sector, and diversity of export base. Rubber, cocoa, palm oil, ivory, hides, palm kernels, groundnuts, cotton, and so on. Because diversity meant the country was less vulnerable to a terms of trade shock, driven by only one export.
All right, well, that's an interesting piece from him. He also gave some other advice to the government.
This was the secret of pre-independence Nigeria. But even that had certain limitations. We had diversity, but this diversity was within commodity exports. From development theory, over the long term, the terms of trade shift against primary exporters. Therefore, any country that's in the global environment and diversify not just its product base, but diversify away from primary production to secondary and tertiary sectors.
Let me touch on two stories very quickly now. The Nigerian Governors Forum, by the way, did meet earlier this week to see how they could, avert the NLC from going on strike with regards to issues of electricity, hiking electricity, and also the issue of petrol now, which has been, some issues being dragged back and forth by everyone in the country. So they say, let's meet. And by the way, there's an industrial injunction from an industrial court that is attempting to stop that strike. Let's see whether that holds forth. Also, this week, 10.9 billion naira was given to households and micro, small, and medium enterprises by President Muhammadu Buhari as part of distribution of palliatives. He said this on Tuesday during a video session with the UN General Assembly during the debate. He says this is the move to make. He also said a 500 billion fiscal stimulus package and sustained delivery of humanitarian and social interventions to the poor and vulnerable households will be given about the central bank and has launched a 3.5 trillion naira stimulus package to boost this and make it come to life in its right as well. Well, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, was in Akure for 3 days visit to assess the preparedness for the Ondo election coming up on the 10th of October now. He was there. He said, well, the commission staff on ground said, in spite of the unfortunate fire incident in the state, INEC was fully prepared for the election. That also did come into play as well this week. Oh, yeah. All right, let me keep on. I've got to round up because I'm checking out the time. There's so much stories to share. How do you do that now? Yes. Oh, yes. New technical crew in the world of sports was appointed for both the men and women teams now. The under-17 team, under-20 national teams. I can see a full list of all the people there. I'm glad to say our coach Olubumi Aruna, you know him as a prime minister. Yes, on radio. Is very much listed with his position as a national team coach. That's prime minister. We call him the prime minister of sports here. Okay, so he's pretty much in active service for Nigeria, not just in words, but in action, advising on the national team. What else am I digging around for? Oh, yeah. I see this one that you may like as well. Well, the federal government says it's currently assessing the plight of all Nigerians affected by flooding with the view of providing succor and ameliorating their sufferings. The Special Advisor to President on Disaster Management, retired Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, said this in an interview to our correspondent Solomon Ndai during the week that, well, they're doing all they can to find out what will be done for Nigerians who have somehow run into issues following the flood.
The ministry will do all it can, working with the federal government and from federal government resources to ensure that those that are especially women who are widows, women who are orphans. You could count people living with disabilities. You could count the people that are elderly, that's 20 years and above.
All right, well, that's what we're saying. Meanwhile, Boss Mustafa, who is the secretary to the government of the Federation, is continuing to appeal to the NLC. Please show some understanding. Don't go on strike.
I would want to remark that I had the privilege of serving on the transition committee when President Buhari was elected in 2015. And I remember the decisions that we are confronted with today were things that transition committee considered as low-hanging fruits in 2015. So if 5 years down the ladder, that decision has become imperative and cannot be escaped.
This next story I want to read, it gives me some shivers. A double disaster it was following two tankers, two different places, one in Lagos, one in Kogi State, where people lost their lives following a tanker explosion that did occur during the course of the week. Let me start off with the story in Kogi State now. Well, the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo assured Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello that the federal government will reach out to the families affected by the petrol tanker accident that occurred in the state. Bello had disclosed this while briefing a State House correspondent after a private meeting with the Vice President on Thursday at the presidential villa. It said the Vice President promised the federal government would help to rehabilitate the section of the road to guard against another accident that did occur. Many of you remember that story. Now, during the week, it was said the trailer that with petrol lost control. The brake field, like we like to say it in the local way, the brake field, it did run into an area where that was sparsely populated with people, and that led to some major fire. But this was how Bello explained the guarantee from the federal government to him with regards to what would happen next. Listen to the governor of Kogi State.
It's an accident. It can happen at any point in time. The minister swiftly invited all that are concerned as far as our reconstruction and rehabilitations are concerned, and has directed that FEMA moved into that spot immediately and fix those areas. Not only that, the road that is coming from Okene to Okoja down to Abaji, between Kaba to Egbe, Umwaran to Ilori, and Ganaja village across to Shutabu to Dekina and Spor Ayamba. He has taken them very seriously, and he has promised that they'll be well funded this time around.
All right, well, that pretty much makes it interesting at this time to know all the things that are going on in that regard. Now, let me round off now by saying also there was a disaster in Lagos, Nigeria. 16 people sustained injuries following, how do I go now? Following degrees of injuries, and properties worth several millions of naira were destroyed following a gas tank explosion, which occurred on Thursday at Ijushagam, Elliot area of Lagos State. The Director General of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Dr. Olufemi Okem Oshin Tolu, confirmed the incident and said properties affected by this disaster, including 2 residential buildings, a church, event center, plank market, and then 11 cars, 2 mini trucks, a bus, and a truck. It said LASEMA responded on the scene alongside with the police and other emergency responders at the time. Sad story as well in Lagos this very week.
And immediately we were called upon and we mobilized all the people that especially the fire service. Already fire put up after about 30 minutes firefight. 2 gas tankers were involved. The first tanker was trying to negotiate into the gas plant along the line exploded. It affected the second tanker. In all, about 16 men had been destroyed completely both. Aside from the 2 tankers, the 2 tricycles were affected, and the event center, S and Y event center, were destroyed completely. Then 15 persons have been injured.
Oh dear. All right. Well, that's one situation as well that did take place during the course of this week as well. All right. Well, let me let you into the conversation now, just to hear from you some of the big stories. There's so much that did go down this week. I'm even thinking about it. I can't wrap my head about all the stories. Is it the story of the minister who put out his own people out there to to be after sex wrong? I mean, Kimberly traded this story, but don't let me go digging in too far into that. But so much did go down It's the brief. I can't cover it all, but I've briefed you. You've been briefed. Now let's hear from you. Your thoughts on some of these stories and how you feel about them this very morning. The lines are open on 0946000951. You can also call in on 08031230293. Oh, join in on 08095974869 as well. You can write in on Telegram or WhatsApp on 08099930137. Yeah. Send your tweets at Nigeria Info ABJ. You can as well use the hashtag The Brief with Femi D Live. I'll be able to respond to that. The Brief at Femi D Live. Okay, any of them will do fine. Let's take those calls and hear from you this morning. I'm glad you connected with me. Good morning. How are you? Oh, good to have you on the show. Talk to me, man. Okay.